5 in your agenda, which is a resolution to refuse federal grants for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. There are 3 speakers, Harvey Carpenter, Kyle Johnson, and Nick Sakali. Shall we hear from the 3 speakers first, and then we can hear, Mike may want to discuss this, and we can proceed from there.
Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, my name is Nick Sakali. I became aware of this resolution that Mike Jackson has proposed, and I want to encourage you to accept it and abide by it. I didn't come with any prepared message to give to you, but I'm a student of history. And I will tell you that one of the greatest problems we have in this nation today is that we have a nation of people who are not abiding by the laws. And the greatest example of that is in the White House and in Congress. And I want to encourage you as the City Council to be people who will set an example to our children of this country. And that is that you uphold the law that our federal government does not. And is abide by and uphold the Constitution of the United States. Think about the example you are setting for our children. That when you choose to ignore the laws that were set before us, then you are giving them an example that they can pick and choose what laws they will adhere to. Therefore, you will be just adding to the crime problem. And this crime bill that has been being passed is not going to resolve anything whatsoever. You know, our founding fathers, when before they wrote our Declaration, before they wrote the Constitution of the United States, they wrote a Declaration of Independence. And in that declaration, they decided they had to write down what were the problems that were going on. They said that there was a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object. And they felt that they were being subjected to an immense amount of violations to their rights and their freedoms. And they decided to list some of them. And I see that the federal government, and you may join in with the federal government, to be accomplices with them. And that is refusing to assent to laws that most wholesome and necessary for the public good. That's the reason our constitutions were written. Also, they had pointed out that he had erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out our substance. And every time you allow the federal government to pass off as grants to us, all they are doing is putting us deeper in debt. And if you take that money, then what you are doing is adding to the debt of this nation, which is going to come right back out of us here locally. So you have the power here in the City Council to raise funds, to raise our taxes here locally, to support our police officers. And I totally encourage you to do whatever is necessary to set the priorities in this city, within your jurisdiction, to support and uphold the law in this land and in our city. And I encourage you to support our police officers. I encourage you to be upholders of the law, be examples, so that when they go out in the street and face kids who decide that they see a broken window, that they don't think that they can just go in and take whatever they want.
I need to stop you because you've ended your 3 minutes unless you all want to just share 9 minutes in some other form.
I will let them come ahead and speak.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Vinroot. I thank the City Council for the opportunity to speak here tonight. I'd like to take this occasion to speak in enthusiastic...
Introduce yourself first.
I'm sorry, I'm Kyle Johnson.
Okay,
apologize. I would like to take this occasion to speak in enthusiastic support of the resolution offered by Councilman Mike Jackson. I would also like to thank Mr. Jackson for quite possibly turning this issue into a national debate at the local level. It is well past time that this type of thing happened. From time to time, I've had the occasion, either in person or via television, to listen to issues of a fiscal nature being discussed in this body. More and more, I hear the dreaded words. You know the words. They're the same words on the lips of many locally elected officials all around the country. The words are federal mandates. We hear these words used as justification for everything from local tax hikes to zoning ordinances. Since the courts have always upheld that it is the right of the federal government to regulate how their money gets spent, they will continue to do so, and more importantly, have always done so. In fact, I will challenge anyone here tonight to give me one significant example where federal mandates did not flow from federal subsidies. At last, Mr. Jackson's proposed resolution to steer clear of federal money for and federal mandates on our local police force is a voice of reason and common sense for those who genuinely wish to avoid federal mandates. Why should a city such as ours knowingly want to put itself in a position of being dictated to by the federal government? Is Charlotte financially strapped? Do we need the money? It does not make sense. Well, interestingly enough, in order to qualify for the federal money for community-based policing from the recently passed crime bill, applicants such as the city of Charlotte must, and I quote from the legislation itself, explain the applicant's inability to address the need without federal assistance, close quote. Who in good conscience can rightfully say that Charlotte has the inability to meet the need of such a primary service as police? In regard to the credit rating of the city, Charlotte has the unique distinction of sharing a rare and prestigious category with only one other American city, Salt Lake City, Utah. Charlotte, like Salt Lake, carries a AAA rating on its bonds. Also, the county and the state in which Charlotte, like Salt Lake City, is situated, both carry AAA ratings. This is a city that USA Today says is the teeming symbol of the New South, and Dun & Bradstreet says is #1 in job creation. Charlotte has become a world-class city. We have one of the most successful sports franchises in the country, the Hornets, and a brand new one, the Panthers. We just hosted the NCAA Final Four basketball championship. Even the president attended. We have one of the nicest and busiest airport facilities in the country with many international destinations. In short, people of all sorts envy Charlotte and would like to live here. Are we really going to argue that the city is in such desperate straits that we need outside help for our police? Are our elected officials really going to abdicate their responsibility by giving up more and more control of the city's police force to the federal government? Are we really going to fall for the argument the federal government will not put mandates on the money for police,
Kyle,
when they have done?
I need to tell you to wind up too. You use your thing.
Okay. Well, I did.
Unless you want to share the next man's time, and he's willing to give us what you got.
I would just like to support the resolution for the city to maintain a strong and independent police force. It is one of your most primary responsibilities as city council. Thank you very much for your time.
My name is Harvey Carpenter. I live at 2310 Oldenburg Drive. In the cause of brevity, please pardon my bluntness. I want to thank Councilman Jackson for the courage he displayed in proposing this resolution to City Council that the City of Charlotte will not accept federal police forces as proposed nationally by the so-called Clinton crime bill. I do not feel that I would receive many objections from City Council that which the federal government subsidizes, it controls. In fact, frequently we hear local elected officials at election time complaining about federal mandates controlling 3/4 of the city-county budget. Because of Councilman Jackson's resolution, you have the opportunity tonight to do something about federal mandates in regard to local law enforcement. It is not an oversight that our founding fathers separated local law enforcement from the federal government. In fact, history has testified many times over to their wisdom. In Mr. Clinton's recently passed crime bill, 3 ghastly objectives were achieved. 1, the disarming of law-abiding American citizens. 2, movement toward nationalizing local police authority to federal aid programs. And 3, major transfer of power to the federal government over criminal matters previously reserved to state jurisdiction. Not only will these programs, as passed, fail to stem the tide of crime, they will sound the death knell for constitutional limitations on government and speed the rise of the omnipotent dictatorial state. If American people ever allow themselves to be disarmed and their independent police departments to become appendages of the growing federal leviathan, then the central government in Washington will possess unchecked power and America will become, by definition, a police state. How then do we fight crime? The answer simply is to make sure that crime does not pay. Decades of coddling criminals and unleashing them on society has fueled today's high crime rate. A reversal of these disastrous policies will have the opposite effect. Put simply, America does not have to move toward a police state to fight crime. Finally, I'd like to say that we need to be reminded that the Soviet KGB and Hitler's SS were federal police forces with a great deal of local jurisdiction. I defy any member of council to give me one example where local police functions have been nationalized, but also the individual rights and lives have not been sacrificed and abused. This is a very dangerous precedent which the City of Charlotte and you, our elected officials, have a unique opportunity to take the lead nationally for the sake of your children, grandchildren, and my children, and I urge you to support Mike Jackson's resolution. Thank you.